Do you want to speak English more easily and with confidence? Whether you're just starting or trying to get better, these 15 easy tips will help you speak more fluently. From practicing every day to thinking in English, these simple steps can really improve your speaking. Let's get started and build your English skills together. ****1. Speak English every day. When it comes to improving your spoken English, one of the most important habits you can develop is speaking every day. Think of learning a language like building strength in a muscle. Just like how you'd work out a muscle to make it stronger, you need to practice speaking English regularly to get better at it. Consistency is key. Now, you might be thinking, do I really have to speak every day? That sounds like a lot of work. But trust me, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. The beauty of speaking English every day is that you can start small. You don't need to dive into deep, long conversations right away. In fact, starting with small, manageable steps is a great way to ease into the habit. For instance, one simple way to practice is to talk to yourself in English. Yes, you heard that right, talk to yourself. You can describe what you're doing during the day. For example, if you're cooking, you might say, I'm chopping onions, and now I'm frying the garlic. This helps you become more comfortable with expressing your thoughts in English, and it's a great way to get used to thinking in the language. Another easy practice you can try is speaking your thoughts out loud. When you're walking or doing tasks around the house, you can simply say to yourself, what's on your mind? It doesn't have to be a structured sentence or even something important. You could say, I need to pick up groceries after work, or I wonder what the weather's like today. These kinds of simple statements can gradually build up your confidence. One more great tip is to speak to your mirror. It might sound a bit silly at first, but this is actually an effective way to practice. When you look at yourself in the mirror while speaking English, you can work on your pronunciation, body language, and facial expressions all at once. It helps you connect the physical act of speaking with your mental language skills. As you get used to speaking out loud, your brain and mouth will start working more smoothly together in English. And when it comes to speaking fluently, this muscle memory is crucial. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to express yourself naturally and confidently. Remember, it's all about consistency and starting small. You don't have to have a lengthy conversation with a stranger right away. Just practicing a little bit each day will make a huge difference over time. Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day of speaking English can lead to big improvements in your fluency. The key is to build the habit, and soon enough, you'll feel more comfortable and confident speaking English in all sorts of situations. This daily practice helps you break the barrier of fear that many people have when speaking a new language. The more you speak, the less you'll be afraid of making mistakes, because you'll realize that making mistakes is simply part of the learning process. It's all about making progress, not being perfect. Over time, you'll notice that your vocabulary expands, your pronunciation improves, and you feel more natural using English. So, don't be afraid to start small. Even if you're just speaking a few words or sentences a day, you're still making great progress toward mastering English. Just keep at it. And remember that every day is an opportunity to improve. ***2. Think. In English, one of the most common challenges for language learners is the habit of thinking in their native language first and then translating it into English. While this may seem like a natural way to learn, it actually slows you down and can lead to confusion. The more you rely on translating from your native language to English, the more complicated and slow the process becomes. So, how can you avoid this? The answer is simple. Train your brain to think directly in English. At first, this might sound like a big leap, especially if you're used to translating everything in your head. But the more you practice, the easier it will become. Thinking directly in English allows you to react faster and speak more fluently, without pausing to translate or getting tangled in words. It's similar to how you think in your native language, without having to translate each word in your mind. The goal is to make English just as natural as thinking in your first language. So, how do you start thinking in English? One great technique is to label things around you in English. For example, if you're sitting in your room, look around and say things like, "That's a chair," or "That's a window." This helps your brain start to associate everyday objects and situations with their English terms, without the need to translate them. You can also try labeling items in your home, like on your fridge or desk, with sticky notes that have their English names. These small steps get you used to thinking in English throughout the day. Another way to train yourself to think in English is by practicing short English sentences. For instance, as you go about your daily routine, try to describe things in simple English. If you're cooking, think or say to yourself, "I am cooking dinner," or "The water is boiling." If you're walking down the street, try to think, "The sun is shining," or "I am going to the store." These short, simple sentences are an easy way to practice without feeling overwhelmed. Journaling in English is also an effective way to practice thinking in the language. At the end of each day, try to write down a few sentences about your day in English. You don't need to worry about making mistakes. Just focus on expressing your thoughts in English. Over time, this will help you develop the habit of thinking in English more naturally. You can start with simple sentences like, "Today, I went to work," or "I ate a sandwich for lunch." Gradually, you can make your sentences more complex as your skills improve. In addition, if you're feeling unsure about certain words or phrases, try to think about them in English instead of translating. If you're unsure about how to say something, just guess in English, even if it's not perfect. It's better than going back to your native language. The goal is to break the habit of translating, which will help you speak more confidently and fluidly. As you keep practicing, your ability to think in English will improve. It's just like any other skill. The more you practice, the better you get. Eventually, you won't need to pause and translate in your head. Instead, speaking and thinking in English will become as natural as it is in your native language. One of the best things about thinking directly in English is that it will make speaking feel more fluid. When you're not trying to translate each sentence, your thoughts can flow more easily, and you won't feel as nervous or hesitate as much. You'll be able to focus more on your message rather than worrying about how to phrase things. Another benefit of thinking in English is that it helps with comprehension. When you start to think in English, you become more familiar with the structure of the language, the word order, and the way sentences are formed. This, in turn, helps you understand spoken English more easily, which is crucial for developing strong listening skills. You might not notice it at first, but over time, this shift in your thinking will make a huge difference in your fluency. The more you think in English, the more natural it will feel to speak in English. It will also make learning new vocabulary easier, because you're actively engaging with the language instead of passively translating it from your native tongue. The key to improving your spoken English is to stop translating in your head and start thinking directly in English. Start small with simple labels, sentences, or journaling in English, and gradually challenge yourself to think more complex thoughts. The more you do this, the more natural speaking English will become. So, try to make thinking in English a regular habit, and before you know it, you'll be speaking more confidently and fluently. 3. Practice with native speakers or fluent speakers. One of the most powerful ways to improve your spoken English is by practicing with native speakers or fluent speakers. When you're learning a new language, there's often a gap between what you learn from books or online courses and how the language is actually spoken in real-life conversations. Native speakers, or those who speak English fluently, can provide you with valuable insights that go beyond grammar rules and vocabulary. Practicing with them can help you master pronunciation, sentence structure, and even slang, which will make your English sound more natural and authentic. At first, this may seem intimidating, but it's important to remember that native speakers are often very understanding and supportive. They're usually happy to help you improve your skills, and they don't expect you to be perfect. In fact, most of them will appreciate your effort to learn their language, and many will offer tips and correct mistakes in a helpful way. So, don't worry about making mistakes. Everyone does it, and it's part of the learning process. If you're unsure where to find native speakers to practice with, don't worry. There are plenty of apps and platforms that can connect you with people who are fluent in English. One popular option is language exchange apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, Speaky, and Conversation Xong. These apps allow you to find people who are learning your native language, and in exchange, you can help them practice while they help you improve your English. This creates a win-win situation for both parties. Tandem, for example, allows you to find language partners who are fluent in English and are looking to learn your language. You can chat with them through text, voice messages, or even video calls. By practicing with someone in a natural, informal setting, you get the chance to learn real-life English, including slang and phrases that you might not find in a textbook. HelloTalk and Speaky offer similar features, connecting you with people from all over the world who want to practice English or your native language. These apps are a great way to gain confidence in speaking and interacting with native speakers in a relaxed environment. If you're a bit nervous about speaking with strangers at first, it's okay to start slowly. Begin with text or voice messages. and gradually work your way up to voice or video calls as you get more comfortable. The beauty of language exchange apps is that they allow you to practice at your own pace, so you can learn when it's convenient for you. Plus, many of these platforms have built-in features that help correct mistakes, so you can learn from your errors in real time. What makes practicing with native speakers so beneficial is that it gives you the chance to hear how English is really spoken. You'll pick up on things like intonation, rhythm, and the way native speakers use colloquial expressions. This is something that can be difficult to learn from textbooks alone. But by chatting with real people, you'll begin to get a feel for the language in its natural context. Moreover, speaking with native speakers can boost your confidence. Often, learners are afraid to speak because they worry about making mistakes or not being understood. However, when you practice with someone who is patient and encouraging, it becomes easier to push through these fears. Over time, you'll realize that it's okay to make mistakes. They're just a part of learning. As you continue practicing, you'll get better and better, and your confidence will grow. The more you practice, the more you'll feel comfortable using English in a variety of settings. Whether it's at work, while traveling, or just having casual conversations with friends. Additionally, learning how to use English in a conversational setting is crucial. While grammar and vocabulary are essential, understanding the flow of natural conversations is key to truly mastering the language. Native speakers can teach you how to ask questions, interrupt politely, and respond in a way that sounds smooth and effortless. You'll also learn how to express yourself with emotions, tone, and gestures, which can make your English sound more natural and engaging. Another great benefit of practicing with native speakers is that you can learn about different accents and regional variations in English. English is spoken in so many different parts of the world, and each region has its own accent, slang, and expressions. By practicing with people from different backgrounds, you'll not only improve your overall fluency, but also become more adaptable to various English dialects. Whether you're learning British English, American English, or any other variant, interacting with native speakers can help you understand these differences and become more versatile in your speaking. Ultimately, practicing with native or fluent speakers will speed up your learning process significantly. It's one thing to study English on your own, but it's another to immerse yourself in real-life conversations with people who can provide immediate feedback and guidance. This kind of practice will help you think on your feet, respond quickly, and improve your pronunciation and fluency. So, if you're serious about improving your spoken English, make it a priority to practice with native speakers or fluent speakers. Use language exchange apps, find a speaking partner, and start speaking. As much as you can, the more you practice, the faster you progress. And soon you'll find that speaking English becomes second nature. 4. Record yourself speaking. Recording yourself speaking English is one of the most effective tools for improving your spoken language skills. It might sound a bit uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to hearing your own voice. But trust me, it's a game changer. Often, when we speak, we don't notice our mistakes or areas where we can improve. However, when you listen to yourself, you become more aware of things like mispronunciations, awkward pauses, or small grammar errors that you might have missed while speaking in real time. Let's break down why this technique works and how you can get the most out of it. Why recording yourself is so helpful. When we speak English, we often focus on getting the message across rather than on every little detail of how we say it. This is completely normal, but it can also mean we overlook important areas of improvement. For example, you might have a tendency to mispronounce certain words or make small grammar mistakes. When you're speaking with someone, you're often too focused on the conversation to notice these things. However, when you listen to a recording of yourself, you get a chance to hear your speech from a different perspective. This allows you to pinpoint the areas where you can improve. Additionally, hearing your own voice can help you become more aware of your speaking pace, tone, and rhythm. You might notice that you speak too quickly, which can make it hard for others to understand you. Or you might realize that you don't emphasize important words enough, which can make your speech sound flat. By recording and listening, you can fine-tune these aspects of your speaking to sound more natural and fluent. How to start recording yourself? The great thing about this technique is that you don't need any fancy equipment to get started. Your phone or computer will work just fine. Here's how you can begin. Choose a topic. Start by recording a short message. It could be something simple, like describing your day, talking about a favorite movie, or telling a story. The goal is to speak freely, without overthinking, just like you would in a normal conversation. Keep it short. You don't have to record long speeches right away. Start with short recordings, even if it's just 30 seconds to 1 minute long. As you get more comfortable with the process, you can increase the length of your recordings. Listen to your recording. After you've made your recording, listen to it carefully. Pay attention to areas like pronunciation, grammar, fluency, and pacing. Are there any words that sound strange or are difficult to understand? Do you hesitate or take long pauses? Are your sentences flowing smoothly, or do they sound disjointed? Compare with a native speaker to really pinpoint areas for improvement. Listen to how a native speaker would say the same things. You can find videos, podcasts, or recordings of native speakers discussing the same topic. Compare their pronunciation, rhythm, and the way they structure their sentences with your own recording. This will help you identify specific areas where you can make improvements. Make adjustments based on what you hear in your recording and after comparing it to native speakers. Try to make adjustments. Focus on 1 or 2 areas at a time, whether it's improving your pronunciation, reducing filler words like or or working on your sentence structure. As you continue recording and listening, you'll become more aware of how you speak and start to notice improvements over time. Tips for getting the most out of this technique. Practice regularly. Like any other skill, the more you practice, the better you'll get. Set aside some time each day to record yourself. It doesn't have to be long, just a couple of minutes each day can make a huge difference over time. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's easy to get discouraged when you hear mistakes in your recordings, but remember that this is a normal part of the learning process. Everyone makes mistakes. And this technique is simply helping you identify where you can improve. Celebrate your progress. And don't be afraid to make errors. They're part of the journey. Focus on specific areas. Instead of trying to fix everything at once, focus on one aspect of your speech each time. Maybe this week, focus on improving your pronunciation of specific words. The next week, work on your pacing or reducing fillers. By narrowing your focus, you'll be able to make more meaningful improvements. Use the recordings for review. After a few weeks of recording yourself, go back and listen to your old recordings. Compare them with your new ones to see how much you've improved. This can be incredibly motivating and help you see the progress you're making. Record yourself in different contexts. As you become more comfortable with this practice, try recording yourself in different contexts. For example, try simulating real-life situations like ordering food at a restaurant, making small talk with a stranger, or explaining something to a friend. This will help you practice speaking English in a variety of situations and make you more adaptable in your conversations. Overcoming the discomfort of hearing your own voice. One of the biggest hurdles learners face when recording themselves is the discomfort of hearing their own voice. Many people find it strange or awkward, and it can feel vulnerable to listen to yourself speaking. However, try to think of this discomfort as part of the learning process. The more you listen to your voice, the more comfortable you will become. Eventually, you'll stop focusing on how you sound and start paying more attention to the content and structure of your speech. Over time, you'll also become more confident in your speaking abilities, as you'll have a clearer understanding of your strengths and weaknesses. Recording yourself allows you to take control of your learning and track your progress, which is an empowering feeling. Recording yourself speaking English might feel a little awkward at first, but it's one of the most powerful ways to improve your fluency. By listening to your recordings, you can identify areas for improvement that you might not notice in the moment. With consistent practice, you'll become more aware of your pronunciation, sentence structure, and fluency. It's a great way to gain confidence in your speaking and track your progress over time. So, don't be afraid to press the record button. It's a tool that can take your English to the next level. Asterisk.